Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is practically invisible to the naked eye, yet it, entirely runs the modern world. We're talking about the core theme of how standardizing data completely revolutionized global business communication on the internet. Have you ever wondered how a server over in Tokyo seamlessly shares complex financial records with a database in New York without a single thing getting lost in translation? I mean, it's not magic, it's structured data. And today, we are going to decode the universal language of business that makes it all possible. To avoid getting lost in a sea of technical jargon, think of this explainer a bit like a funnel. We're going to start super wide, looking at the broad internet landscape, and then we'll narrow our focus straight down to the very specific, game-changing benefits this technology brings to modern corporate boardrooms.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's how we're breaking it down today. First, the power of XML. Then, introducing XBRL, followed by the XBRL working model. After that, we'll look at exactly how tagging works, and finally wrap up with the major benefits of XBRL.
Section 1. The power of XML.
So, I want to pose this question directly to you. What language does the internet actually speak? I mean, we're on the web every single day, right? Jumping between countless websites, apps, platforms. But how do these completely disparate systems manage to share data so seamlessly across the globe? What is the common thread tying your daily weather app to a stock ticker or a newsfeed?
Well, the answer is XML, which stands for Extensible Markup Language. It's basically the foundational language and message interchange format widely utilized for exchanging data over the internet. Think of XML as the absolute bedrock for communication protocols. It's a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that's readable by both humans and machines. Whenever two totally dissimilar systems need to share information, they have to agree on a file format, right? XML acts as that great normalizer, making it the universal standard for describing arbitrary data structures.
Just look at the massive array of applications built on this. XML is literally everywhere. There are hundreds of document formats created using XML syntax, things like RSS, Atom feeds, Office Open XML, Open Document, SVG, and XHTML. It's the foundational language for protocols like SOAP and XMPP, and it's even the core message format for the AJAX programming approach. But it doesn't stop there. Massive industrial data standards rely on it too, like Health Level 7 in healthcare, the Open Travel Alliance, FML in finance, MISMO in mortgages, and the National Information Exchange Model. Even the publishing world relies heavily on it with things like the Darwin Information Typing Architecture. The scale here is just incredible.
Section 2. Introducing XBRL. Now, as we move from the broad, everyday internet straight into the corporate boardroom, we quickly realize that business needs its own specific dialect. While XML is absolutely fantastic for general data, the financial world requires something much more rigorous. It requires a trustworthy, automated way to exchange very specific corporate data without any room for ambiguity.
Enter XBRL. That stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language. It's a data description language entirely based on XML, but designed specifically to facilitate the automated interchange and trustworthy extraction of standard corporate data. So the crucial point is that XBRL is the ultimate solution built specially for financial data across all software types and advanced technologies. It basically takes the amazing flexibility of XML and adds strict business reporting standards right on top of it.
Section 3. The XBRL working model. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole ecosystem, peeling back the curtain on how financial data actually flows from a company's internal ledger to the outside world. We start with internal business operations, move through internal financial reporting, out to external financial reporting, and finally land on investment and lending analysis. XBRL isn't just a file format. It's a complete working model connecting a really wide variety of processes and participants. Let's break that flow down a bit more clearly. Step 1 is internal financial reporting. This is where your trading partners, management accountants, and auditors are using XBRL for things like journal entry reporting. Step 2 moves to external financial reporting, where financial publishers, data aggregators, and regulators step in to handle all those tax and regulatory filings. Finally, Step 3 is investment and lending analysis, which is where investors actually consume this data. The beautiful thing here is that all these totally different participants plug into this unified model via software vendors. Everyone is speaking the exact same digital language.
Section 4. How tagging works.
Think about the difference between a dumb spreadsheet number and a smart XBRL tag number.
If I just type the number 50,000 into a standard spreadsheet, the computer has absolutely no idea what that means. Is it dollars, units sold, a zip code? It's completely contextless. But XBRL acts kind of like a barcode. Just like a grocery store scanner reads a barcode to instantly know a product's price, an XBRL-enabled application scans a smart tag to instantly know the fixed definition of the data. Our source material puts it perfectly, noting that XBRL offers expanded contextual information. XBRL tags may designate the data as currency or accounts within a report. Context is the magic word here. If an organization labels a piece of data with the tag revenue, any XBRL-enabled software instantly knows it pertains to revenue. It completely conforms to a fixed, globally accepted definition of income. By tagging a number this way, the integrity of the data is totally safeguarded by accepted norms, completely eliminating the guesswork. Section 5. The benefits of XBRL. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scope of the operational advantages. This is absolutely not just a simple IT upgrade for the accounting department. XBRL radically reduces expenses by simplifying and automating the preparation of reports for various clients. Because the data is machine-readable instantly, it massively accelerates decision-making for banks and rating services. It facilitates much faster publication of analyst and investor reports. And because the data is standardized, the access, comparison, and analytic capabilities it unlocks are truly unparalleled. But hey, if you remember just one single thing from this whole explainer, let it be this ultimate takeaway. All reports are automatically created from a single source of information. This single source of truth is the absolute holy grail of corporate accounting. With XBRL, a business, a person, or a software program can instantly produce a variety of output formats based on one core financial statement. It drastically reduces the chance of erroneous data entry, which means it significantly spikes data reliability across the board. So, we've gone from the broad architecture of the internet with XML straight down into the super specific, tag-driven world of financial reporting with XBRL. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question. If a single language can make global financial data instantly comprehensible and practically error-free, what other complex, data-heavy industries are just waiting to be revolutionized by smart tagging?
If you're looking to really master the modern business environment, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're exploring the big 5 digital transformation technologies, but we aren't just going to look at them as isolated buzzwords. We're going to examine them as a cohesive, hierarchical tech stack. Think of it kind of like building a giant digital skyscraper. I mean, you need a solid foundation before you can even think about building the penthouse, right? By the end of this explainer, you'll see exactly how cloud computing, business intelligence, robotic process automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning stack perfectly on top of one another to create the ultimate modern enterprise.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our roadmap today covers 1. The digital foundation. 2. 3 types of clouds. 3. Unlocking business intelligence. 4. Robotic process automation. And 5. AI and machine learning.
All right, let's start at the very bottom. Section 1, the digital foundation. Simply described, cloud computing is the delivery of a variety of services through the internet, or the cloud. It basically involves storing and accessing data via distant servers as opposed to your local hard drives and private data centers. Now think about how it used to be before this. Businesses literally had to acquire and operate their own physical service to suit their demands. And to minimize the risk of downtime and disruptions, especially to meet peak traffic volumes, they had to purchase massive amounts of server capacity. Consequently, significant quantities of expensive server space were just sitting there, completely unused for most of the time. Today's cloud service providers are a total game changer, enabling businesses to just lessen their reliance on all those costly on-site servers.
So by laying this cloud foundation, organizations immediately unlocked 3 massive benefits. First is cost management. As we just mentioned, you drastically reduce the need for costly on-site hardware and maintenance staff. Second is mobility. Your data and workloads can move with you. And third, and this is absolutely crucial for peace of mind, business continuity and disaster recovery, or BCDR. Storing your mission-critical data in the cloud guarantees that even if a physical disaster hits your office, your data is safe and your business keeps right on running.
Moving right along, Section 2, 3 types of clouds.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we actually build that foundation. There are 3 deployment options here. First up, the private cloud. This offers a cloud environment exclusive to a single corporate organization, with components housed on-premises or in a vendor's data center. Because it's just for one enterprise, it gives you a super high level of control and customizable architecture. Next is the public cloud, which stores and manages access to data through the internet. It's fully virtualized.
The big win here is that you only pay for cloud services on an as-needed basis, which makes scaling a breeze. Plus, providers use rigorous security to keep other tenants out of your data. Finally, we have the hybrid cloud. It blends both models so you can exploit shared resources while keeping existing IT infrastructure for mission-critical security needs. For instance, you might lock down highly sensitive user data in a private cloud to comply with privacy rules, but execute your heavy, resource-intensive computations over in the public cloud.
Okay, Section 3, Unlocking Business Intelligence.
So, we've got all this data securely stored in the cloud. How do we actually make sense of it? We need a visibility layer, and that is exactly what Business Intelligence, or BI, provides. It pulls data directly via native API connections, aggregates insanely diverse datasets into cloud data warehouses, and provides dynamic embedded analytics right inside the apps your company is already using. It's kind of like plugging a high-definition monitor into your business.
To put that into perspective, let's look at some BI tools in action. Tableau, for example, is a powerhouse that pulls data from a massive array of cloud software and translates raw numbers into visual stories. On the flip side, Insight Squared tracks very specific operational metrics, like sales success rates or closed deals. This is the visibility layer at work, turning raw, cold cloud data into the actionable insights you actually need.
Section 4. Robotic Process Automation Explained.
Now we transition from the visibility layer to the action layer. There's a lot of jargon out there, so the crucial point is right here in this definition. RPA is all about mimicking the way people interact with applications through a user interface and following simple rules to make decisions. Actually, scratch the idea of a robot thinking. It isn't thinking creatively at all. It is strictly about executing rule-based tasks as a tireless digital worker doing exactly what it's told super fast. Let's pause for a second and look at how this all stacks up. Number 1, cloud computing stores the massive datasets. Number 2, business intelligence visualizes the performance trends so you can spot bottlenecks. And number 3, RPA steps in to handle that repetitive manual processing based on simple rules. You see how each layer completely empowers the next? It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
Which brings us to Section 5, AI and Machine Learning. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens when tasks are no longer simple, when we need the system to stop merely following static rules and actually start predicting. By integrating advanced data science, especially in fields like finance, we move beyond looking at historical batches of data and enable dynamic, real-time actions. We're talking instant risk analytics and fraud detection.
But we do need to clearly distinguish between AI and machine learning, because they get mixed up a lot. Artificial intelligence is the broader concept of systems processing huge magnitudes of complex big data. Machine learning, on the other hand, is the automated learning of the implicit properties of or underlying rules for that data. So instead of being programmed with simple rules like RPA, machine learning analyzes the data to discover the rules itself.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is the ultimate takeaway. AI and machine learning absolutely require immense, complex big data sets to learn and function. And where do those massive data sets live? Back in our foundational cloud layer. The combination of big data, AI, and machine learning is the fundamental aspect of true digital transformation. You just can't have the automated intelligence at the top without that scalable cloud infrastructure at the bottom. The whole shebang is connected.
So, what does this all mean for you? We've seen how cloud computing, business intelligence, RPA, AI, and machine learning are a deeply interconnected ecosystem. If you try to implement AI without a solid cloud and BI foundation, you're literally building a house on sand. So I'll leave you with this provocative question to think about. As you look at your own business operations, are you simply buying random tech tools, or is your organization actually building the right digital stack?
Today we're taking a pretty fascinating journey into the absolute heartbeat of modern organizations. We're talking about the evolution and really the anatomy of business intelligence. If you've ever wondered how on earth companies take just mountains of raw, frankly overwhelming data and magically turn it into sharp, strategic action, well, you're in the right place.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the roots of BI, define what it actually looks like today, break down the core methods that make the whole thing tick, and finally explore how it empowers proactive decisions. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The roots of business intelligence. Because, to really grasp the sheer power of data analytics today, we've got to take a quick look back at where it all started. It is honestly incredible how far we've come. Traditional business intelligence, it actually originated way back in the 1960s. But back then, it was mostly just a rigid method for passing information around an enterprise.
It wasn't until 1989 that the phrase business intelligence was officially coined, right alongside some of the early computer models built for decision-making. Fast forward to today, and those early clunky systems have evolved into distinct, highly sophisticated programs that are laser-focused on transforming raw data into actionable insights.
And the contrast between the past and the present is a total game changer. Traditional BI was, at its core, an IT-dependent service. It was driven by isolated BI teams, which, let's be real, often created a massive bottleneck when business leaders needed answers fast. But modern business intelligence? It is all about adaptable, self-service analysis. It relies on controlled data sitting on dependable platforms. And what does that give us? Rapid insight delivery, and most importantly, totally empowered business users who can get exactly what they need the very second they need it. Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, Defining Modern BI. Let's pin down exactly what contemporary BI looks like in the wild.
There's a great quote from our sources that totally hits the nail on the head. When you have a complete picture of your organization's data and utilize it to drive change, remove inefficiencies, and swiftly adjust to market or supply changes, you have contemporary business intelligence, right? So the big takeaway here is that modern BI isn't just about hoarding data or staring at endless spreadsheets. It's a highly dynamic tool. It pulls together business analytics, data tools, and infrastructure to actually help businesses make choices that are genuinely data-driven.
Section 3, the core BI methods. So, how does a company actually pull this off? We're about to unpack the engine room of company intelligence by looking at 9 specific core procedures. To make sense of this, let's think of this entire process kind of like running a high-end restaurant kitchen.
The whole data journey kicks off with gathering and preparation. Think of this phase like a master chef sourcing and prepping all their ingredients before the Friday night dinner rush. First up is data preparation. This involves compiling multiple data sources, figuring out your dimensions and measurements, and getting everything structurally prepped for analysis. Without this step, you'll literally just have chaos in the kitchen. Next is querying. This is where the BI system actively pulls responses from those prepped data sets to answer really specific, targeted questions from users. It's the absolute foundation for everything else.
Building off those queries, we move into the actual analysis, the cooking phase, if you will. Step 1 here is descriptive analytics. This uses basic data analysis to simply determine what transpired. Basically, it tells you what happened in the past. But, of course, we don't stop there. Step 2 is statistical analysis. We take those descriptive results and apply statistics to dig deeper, exploring exactly how and why a specific pattern happened. It's like a chef tasting a dish and scientifically breaking down why those particular flavors sing together.
And when we want to get even more advanced with the recipe, we bring in data mining. Data mining is this exhilarating process where massive data sets are mined for hidden patterns. And what makes this so incredibly powerful today is that it leverages advanced databases, hardcore analytics, and even machine learning. It's kind of like having a tireless digital detective just constantly sifting through your business operations, finding correlations and trends that a human eye would never, ever catch.
Now, obviously, a perfectly cooked meal is completely wasted if the presentation is a mess. That's where visualization and storytelling come in, the plating phase. Data visualization makes all this dense analysis easy to consume by transforming it into clear visual representations. You know, the charts, graphs, and histograms we use every day. Then visual analysis takes it a step further. It explores that data using visual storytelling to share findings in real time. It keeps the flow of analysis completely dynamic and keeps everyone intuitively on the same page.
Finally, the meal reaches the customer. Output and action. First, we have reporting. This is the crucial dissemination of our data analysis to stakeholders, so they can form solid conclusions and take immediate action. Alongside that, we have performance metrics and benchmarking. This means we're actively comparing current performance data to previous data and measuring it all against our objectives, usually by utilizing highly customized dashboards that keep those goals front and center. The whole point is to make sure your organization isn't just reading information, but actively executing on it.
Section 4, Empowering Proactive Decisions. We've covered the history, the modern definition, and those 9 core methods. Let's wrap this up by tying the whole ecosystem together to look at its ultimate purpose. Because ultimately, this is why all of this actually matters. The ultimate goal of company intelligence is to provide a complete, full perspective of a firm. When you combine all these procedures and methods, you empower individuals across the entire organization to make better, proactive decisions. It literally shifts a company from constantly reacting to past events to anticipating the future and maximizing performance.
So I'll leave you with a question to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. Is your organization merely gathering data, just letting it sit there in isolated servers? Or are you actively utilizing these modern BI methods to drive proactive change, remove inefficiencies, and maximize your performance? The data is out there, just waiting to be understood. It's entirely up to you to turn it into true intelligence. Thanks so much for joining me today.